Hey everybody, tonight I'm going to show you how to make what I call comfort skillet dinner. Last week I just came home from work and I just wanted something, every once in a while you get this feeling you just want to cook something where you sit down after and you go like, oh, that was so good, right? Now this is going to be different for everybody. This really hit the buttons for me. And it's sort of based in food groupings. You got something to fry it in, you got some kind of meat, potatoes, cheese, and some kind of seasoning. Now, what I'm using is I've got some ghee. If you've got butter or oil, that's fine. I got an Italian sausage and a chicken breast that are still defrosting here. I've got some potatoes that I'm going to peel and mash up. Now, for the cheese, I did buy some mozzarella for this to show you, because you need some kind of melty cheese. The ones that I had, you might not be able to get. I had this stuff that comes in these little kind of red wax wrappers. It's sort of like Gouda, but not really. It's soft and gooey and it melts really nice. And I've got some Parmesan. Now for the seasoning, I'm using shallots, so you can use whatever you want, and some chives, and some of my own garlic chili oil, which is just awesome. And if you've never tried this, you really should. Here's the link. So the nice part about this dinner is that you can actually get it ready before you go to work. I should start working on the potatoes, but the meat is not quite defrosted yet, so I'll just pop that in the microwave for a bit. I got about a half dozen organic potatoes here. I thought I'd give these a shot, They are smaller, but guess what? They're a lot firmer. They take longer to cook because they're a lot meatier. They're not so filled with water, and they do taste really good. So if you can get your hands on some, do give that a shot. So first thing, peel and chop them up. So potatoes are peeled, I'm getting those chopped up. I'm going to microwave them using the baked potato setting. I use probably for this 3 baked potatoes. It's the equivalent. They might be a little overcooked, but they're going to be fried, which doesn't matter. You can always do 2 and check on them. Try to make all the pieces the same size so they cook at the same rate. So next I'll chop up the shallots, then the cheese, because I always do the meat last. Just cut the ends off, split them down the middle, peel off the outer layer, then just chop them up fine. And just put those in a little bowl and set that aside. And if you are doing this in the morning before work, you can just get everything in the fridge covered, no problem. Next, I'm gonna do these little cheeses here. Like I said at the beginning, not everybody can get these things, and mozzarella works just fine for this. Any kind of soft cheese that goes gooey when you heat it will work. So I'll just kind of chop this into little slices that'll melt in the frying pan pretty quickly. Just get those in a little bowl. For this I cut up the chicken first. You can put them in the same bowl, no problem. And if it's not completely defrosted, fine. If it's a little cooked when you were defrosting it on one corner, fine. It's all going to fry up in the frying pan and no one will know. So for this, you do want it in small cubes. Now, for the sausage, you want to get the skin off it, so just hold it in one hand or on the cutting board if you feel nervous doing like that, and then the skin should just peel right off and you're just left with the sausage meat, and that you just want to give a rough chop. This will break up quite easily in the frying pan, no worries. And again, if the ends cooked up a bit while it was defrosting, This will break up in the frying pan, no issues. So right now we're just waiting on the mashed potatoes, so I'll get the area cleaned up a bit. So these are just out of the microwave. Cooked, as you can see, quite nicely. Yeah, these just mash up in a minute when they're overcooked like this, which is great. But because they've been cooking in the microwave instead of being boiled, they're not waterlogged. And they still have all their flavor and texture. I seriously don't know if I'm ever going to boil potatoes again. So, if you were going to work, you would let this cool off on the counter enough that you could put it in the fridge with the rest of it. But it's getting close to dinner for me, so I'm just going to cook it right now. I got my non-stick started at medium high. Not really high, I never cook high with non-stick. And I got a glob of ghee here. You can use about the same amount of butter. So I'll get the shallots going in there. Yeah, ghee or clarified butter adds a really nice color to it, like right out the door. These don't even have to be cooking for more than a few seconds, and you can see that. I'll just zoom in a bit. Then add your meat. Once the chicken is seared nearly all over and the sausage meat is starting to change color, turn the heat down closer to low and put a lid on it for a bit. So what you're looking for here is to get the water to come out of the meat and out of the shallots, and once it's done that, then you can take the lid off and let it boil off quickly. That's been going for 6 or 8 minutes there. Let's take a look. Yeah, nearly all the water's out, so I'm going to turn that back up to the previous temperature, a touch over medium there. And let the water just boil off and sizzle up before I throw the potatoes in. Because you definitely want this to fry, you don't want the potatoes to get all mushy. Water's come off. Got a nice sizzle to it. Now, if you want to brown your chicken, you're going to have to do it now because it won't really do that after the potatoes are in. So as you can see, there's actually not too much grease in here at all. It just seems like that. So when that's got a nice sizzle on it, but it's not, you know, over brown, it's when you start adding your mashed potatoes. You can use a spatula if you want. I always use tongs for something like this. And just mix those. You should use the tongs, if you've got them, to kind of squeeze up any grease that's in the bottom of the pan into the potatoes. Which is why I always prefer to use butter than oil for this. When that's looking good, you can add the cheese. First I just put in the sliced cheese. Then about a handful of the mozzarella. You don't want to overpower this with cheese. You want to keep a nice balance. And give it a good sprinkling of Parmesan. I always use good quality Parmesan, not that powdered stuff. It's not even worth the money. And sprinkle some chives over the top. And get back in there with your tongs. So when the cheese has gotten all nice and gooey through it, turn the heat off, get a bowl. Now this will depend entirely on you. If you're not a fan of chili oil, don't have any, but I just find it accents it just perfectly. So get a nice drizzle going over the top. And get yourself a fork or a spoon. Either one works really well with this. And just sit down and dig in. So that's how I make my comfort skillet dinner. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you again.